I think if I hear you call me Becky one more time, six-pack, I'm gonna pop your tops. All six of them.
Who are you?
Hey, this is Matt once again. We're about to another review. There's another paid request, this time from Deshonde. Thank you so much for that. For those interested in requesting pretty much any type of videos or topics or reactions, reviews, re-reviews, randomness, what have you, feel free to send it either directly to my PayPal or join my Patreon. Both links are down below in the info box. And this is for Season 1, Episode 1 of The Jeffersons. Now, I've heard of The Jeffersons. I didn't, number one, say the fucking name of the show right. What the hell is Jeffersons? Jeffersons. Can you talk, Matt? Jeffersons. Jeffersons. Fur, as in fur life. Jeffersons. Okay, thank you. You want to redo it? Nah, fuck it. It is what it is. So, The Jeffersons, which is a spinoff of the TV show All in the Family, because they being George Jefferson and his wife, played by Sherman Hemsley, and then the wife is played by Isabel Sanford. Sherman Hemsley, Isabel Sanford, they were on the TV show All in the Family, and then they got a spinoff, and it was a very successful spinoff. I mean, it lasted 11 seasons from 1975 to 1985, and I think at the time people labeled it as one of the most successful sitcoms, or at least longest running, one of the longer running sitcoms. Sherman Hemsley, funny enough, I remember him more from Mr. Nanny with Hulk Hogan, because when I was a kid, I was a Hulkamaniac. Not so much nowadays, but back then. And so I would watch all of the Hulk Hogan movies like Suburban Commando, No Holds Barred, and Mr. Nanny. And there's Sherman Hemsley as the friend and manager of Hulk Hogan's character, who had like a cane with him. He's been in a lot of other stuff too. Sadly, he passed away in 2012. He was 74 years old. Isabel Sanford, I don't recognize her. She might have been in stuff I've seen. Of course, this is the show that has the great theme song, moving on up to the east side, moving on up. And I knew of that song. I had heard that song all the time, to the point many people reference it over and over again. And again, I knew of the Jeffersons, but I can't sit here and say I ever saw a full episode before. And I saw it was the pilot episode. It was fun for what for what it is. It's a sitcom from the 70s. I guess it also depends about sitcoms. Some absolutely hate sitcoms. Sitcoms I'm fine with. I guess honestly, for a sitcom, it'd have to be really, really bad for me to rant on it. Only for the fact of, since sitcoms are so short, since I did see a little bit less commercial breaks, I think it was like 25, 26 minutes. But then as time went on, networks wanted more and more commercial time. So that's why some of the episodes of older shows are like 25, 26 minutes. But then when you take that stuff down, later on it'd be like 21, 22 minutes. It's like the fact of, okay, a sitcom I enjoy called Elf, which I grew up with. Yes, the alien from Melmac, Elf. Many of those original shows were around 24, 25 minutes long, but then when Lionsgate or whoever the hell put them on DVD, they're like 21, 22 minutes long. And that's because I do have the uncut versions of Elf from Germany. And I'm pointing over there because they're over there, but they're at the bottom, so if I take them out, everything would fall. But yeah, they're all at the bottom there. So when I say uncut, it wasn't cut for nudity, violence, language. It was cut for, oh, when they went to syndication, or we get into later on in the decade where less commercial time, they had to find out stuff to cut. So either it be a song that was used. Well, we don't have to pay rights for the song, so just cut that out with the song in it. Anyway, I'm going off tangent, but like I said, sitcoms, it had to be really, really terrible for me to rant on. Because again, it's like 20 some minutes long. It goes by, for the most part, decent pace. Usually with sitcoms, it's trying to be very snappy and witty. Trying to be. And trying to zip by. Usually in sitcoms, they don't want to dawdle too long. They want to keep it going. Because we got to keep it going before we get to the next commercial break. So usually it's a pretty fast pace with sitcoms, at least the ones I've seen. And Sherman Hemsley and Isabel Sanford worked off each other fairly well. They played, I would guarantee for people who are big fans of the show, the number one thing they would say is the chemistry between the two leads. And the way they interacted with each other. Because the chuckles I got out of it, because the story is pretty much, they've moved on up. They are bringing in the money. The wife isn't really sure about getting a maid. Because, like, why are we getting a maid? Sherman M's like, hey, we made it on up. We deserve to be now the top to look down on people. So we don't get a maid. In fact, we don't get a maid, 5 times a week. And then the wife is like, oh, I'm not sure about getting a maid. I don't know about this. I disagree with this choice. But, much more of a funny way than I'm making it sound. So it's not like the story did much for me. It's not like something I could relate to. I can't relate to, am I going to get a maid today or am I not going to get a maid? But, like I said, it's the comedy and chemistry of the two leads that worked fairly well. And even when they're talking about each other. For example, the wife is talking about this friend of hers who's also a maid. She thinks the wife is a maid because she can't believe that a black couple could afford this. So when she's thinking that the wife is a maid, it's like, you call him George to his face? Yes, sometimes I also call him Loudmouth. How do you afford a place like this? Talking to Sherman Hemsley, you're not tall enough to be a basketball player. I wear the pants of this family. Well, when you them up, include your mouth. So, I mean, they're jokes that work in a sitcom fashion. I also think one of the appealing aspects, if you ask people who are much more knowledgeable about the show than me, is, hate to bring it up because it's all the politics of today, but it's appropriate in this instance, race. Because they have neighbors who are in an interracial relationship. That was not common at the time. I mean, I think about some years before that, it was such a shocker that Captain Kirk and Uhura kissed on Star Trek. Because, I forget what episode it was, but some being made Captain Kirk or Uhura kiss, and it's like, oh my god! A black girl kissed a white guy on TV. But that was, the truth of the matter, that was a big deal. Same with having an interracial couple on TV. And this shows what you to do and not do. But the N-word gets used. This is a sitcom with a laugh track, and the N-word is used. Granted, the way it's used is funny because it's Sherman Hemsley talking to the interracial couple. At first, liking that they were agreeing with him about getting a maid, but then they're like, "Oh well, you guys fight. Oh yeah, I bet you guys fight. It gets so bad you'll call each other something. No, we don't. Oh yeah, I bet if he, yeah, inside of 5 minutes in a fight, he'd be calling you up. Don't say it. He said it. He said it. And I didn't expect that. And like, that was kind of the laugh I got out of it. Which maybe that's what other people did. But I'm like, it is interesting that, again, for a sitcom, they were able to use that word. I don't know later on how much they used it, but I mean, that's unexpected. But again, the best part of the show is the two leads and the way they interact with each other. Like Sherman Hemsley goes, "Hey, I worked from the bottom to the top." And then someone goes, "Yeah, so does a gopher." Or the son, they have a grown-up son, he embarrasses the dad, Sherman Hemsley. And Sherman Hemsley looks at his wife and goes, "You could have stopped me before I made a fool of myself." And she goes, "Well, he didn't know you. He didn't know you when you were first born." Been a fool all your life. And by the end they get a maid, and again it's a nod to race where someone goes, "How come we overcame and no one told me?" And just the fact that, wow, here's a black couple that were able to make it, move on up to the east side. Like I said, I'm sure people who would follow the show more, they would talk about the impact of the show. Since I didn't, I would just be either copying what someone said on a Wikipedia page or some article, or making it up because I didn't follow the show. But I just say it was an entertaining pilot. The two leads worked well. I mean, the plot didn't really interest me. I don't give a fuck if you get a maid or not. But I guess technically you just say that for a lot of plots in sitcoms. Because they're sitcoms. Usually they're very small little things that happen. At least back in the day. But yeah, I mean, like I said, the theme song is catchy. The actors do their jobs well. This one guy, I forget his name. He was I don't know if he was the landlord. Like, he would keep popping up, and I've seen him in other stuff, but he was entertaining. Like, he came out of the elevator, saw a couple kissing, says, "Guess I'll come back later." Gets back around the elevator and leaves. I forget the actor's name, but he had I think he played the judge in the Addams Family movie. The first Addams Family. I believe he played the judge at the trial in that movie. But yeah, sadly, a lot of the people involved with the show have passed away. I know that guy passed away. Sherman Hemsley passed away. It's just kind of sad looking back and seeing so many people gone. I was like, what, they did a good job. Granted, it's only based on one episode, but they did a fairly good job. Again, I don't have much issues other than the plot. The plot itself wasn't interesting. The maid characters. There's the friend at the beginning. There's a second maid at the end. Again, it was much more interesting when it was the two leads going back and forth verbally, or even the interracial couple going back with Sherman Hemsley back and forth between them. That's when it really came alive, the episode. So I think that's probably what kept it going for so many years, I would assume. So with that said, thanks for watching. Take care, and we will see you guys later. Bye-bye.